Hey guys, my name is JessiMew, and welcome back to the Harmony Islands. In the last episode, Animeme's blessing appeared in a very unexpected place when one of our Berryina babies was born with that lovely crown of ram horns. This little baby with all of those genetics has an attack strength of 10, so he can basically destroy anything in his path. Once he sets sail with all of these other little babies across all of these islands, he is going to be a little terror. Well, maybe not a terror because the feud has been smoothed over between these two families. Howl and Beta, of course, are working together with their tribe, and I have a feeling that has a little bit to do with why Animeme decided to bless one of their babies. She is the goddess of war, but that doesn't make her heartless. When she was alive, after all, a very long time ago, she always worked toward protecting her tribe mates, bettering the tribe instead of trying to just better herself. And I think after seeing that Howl and Beta have learned from their ways, she is willing to trust them a little bit more herself, just like the rest of the tribe. They're definitely also starting to get in the good graces for Berryina family. They're also just about ready to start island hopping themselves. We have Cloud sitting right on the shore with her good friend Scratch. She's a little bit distracted by him at the moment because they're spending so much time playing together, but I am sure her mother is going to put an end to that pretty soon. She does need to take part in her training after all, so the old kingdom's ways can live on in their line. Rose seems like she's probably a little bit more dedicated to that task, and I wonder if maybe that's because of her looks in a way. She does have that derp snout, so maybe that causes her to work a little bit harder, so her tribe mates won't think that she's just like all of those wandering creatures that we find off in the darkness. She is ready to contribute as well. She just has to wait until the next day because she is still a little bit young, so we don't want her to get trapped, though then again she might actually be able to skip all the way across the shore, right over next to her aunt. Oh, Silaire is going to be very impressed by that, isn't she? Can anyone else do that too? I think, Cloud, you might actually be able to. You're going to be a little bit sad leaving Scratch behind, but in all honesty, he is going to be right behind you no matter what. We'll have him move into the spot that you were at. We'll see if he can catch any fish too along the way, because it looks like we have quite a few swimming around you at the moment, so maybe somebody can snag that in the future. I think Howl is going to probably return to his mate. He wants to be right by her side because she is getting a little bit weak right now. The waves did such a number on her when she tried to cross herself, thanks to her normal-sized body, that she only has 2 days remaining on her lifespan. So I'm hoping that maybe we can still have just one more baby between them, but it really depends if that awful fertility gets in the way. They both have a little bit of trouble with their fertility genes, so we'll see how it goes. Before we skip the day though, we can't forget about naming this special little baby. I asked you guys for suggestions, and you guys had so many amazing names. I wrote them all down so we can definitely use some more for future hybrid babies, but this one I think we're going to name Simba, which is a name I'm sure many of you are very familiar with. It seemed like that was the most popular suggestion on the last video. And it's nice too because the name means a lion, and his strong voice really does remind me of something like a lion's roar. It's supposed to be able to scare away his enemies, so I am quite excited to see exactly how that works, as long as we can find some enemy Berryinas to investigate with. That's going to be interesting too because they are technically part Berryina, so I wonder how they're going to feel battling their own kind when it eventually comes to that. But I think we are done with this turn now, so let's zoom out a little bit and skip the day. And now I do believe Crest is going to get injured on this turn too because he does have that pesky leech. He managed to pick one up while he was trying to cross the distance to get over to Vixen, so let's have him scoot up right next to her, so hopefully she'll be able to pick that off of him. But first, I think I saw another leech in the water. Yeah, we might want to have Cloud gather this one up before it sticks to her instead. And we don't have any more swimming around here, do we? Nothing next to you, little Mosey? Oh, you're so tiny down here. Actually, these two are definitely going to want to leave for their own adventures, but because they have the lean bodies, I'm a little bit concerned that they're going to struggle when it's time for them to jump into the waves. But they are truly adventurous souls. They've spent much of their lives together after all, and with Takir just passing, the artist Takir, I'm sure they would want to spread his ways as well. That's part of the reason why Clay is going too, searching for some form of creativity creativity to spread all across these islands, and of course he's going to help out his sister because he does have that lovely big nose. So his will be very helpful because he'll be able to sniff a little bit further than the rest of the tribe, and he can let them know if there's any danger coming that they haven't seen just yet. But Vixen, if you would please maybe take that leech off of Crust and lick his wounds for us. There we go. These two have had their eyes on each other for quite a while. Crust was very impressed by her beautiful looks, of course, but she's also very strong. She's one of the only members of the Sisterhood of Warriors at the moment, aside from Willow herself, but she's also getting so very old, so we're going to have to revitalize this line as soon as possible. Maybe Vixen can even have some babies that would be able to join too. Just like on our previous island, they often end up being our first line of defense. So let's see if we could actually get started on this family right away. There we go, so Vixen can use her last turn to drop down a nest, and now Willow can rest assured that their ways will live on too even after she's gone. She can offer them up some berries as well, so the babies will have something nice and sweet to eat as soon as they're born. A little gift from Aunt Willow. Now Crest, of course, will need to pick up some of this grass to make sure that his family is safe, but he does bear a very striking resemblance to Spirit of the old island. So I wonder if maybe Howl would recognize that and request that one of his sons goes to follow him. He remembers Spirit always being by his and his mother's side after all, always helping wherever she could, even though her actions weren't always quite rewarded by Grimm. So maybe he would want to rectify that by sending one of his own babies out to help Crest on his journeys. Shark, since he's a little bit older than Simba, of course, might just be the one. We'll change his second gem over to the yellow color that his mother has, and then I suppose we could bring Howl up here to try to breed with Beta. Oh, it actually worked on the first try! Excellent, so she can have just one more baby before she passes away. We'll set up her nest right there, and then Rana could help with all of these berries too. She is feeling a little bit sad at the moment because so many of these creatures are leaving again, though Kola has said that she will be staying behind with her, so hopefully we can set her up right next to one of these bunny burrows, and then she'll still be able to catch some food on her spare time too. I suppose she could try to crack open the acorns as well, and I think I actually saw a bunny down there. Oh, there is a bunny by the shore, 2 bunnies in fact. That may have been the bunny that was trying to sneak its way into the ocean not too long ago. So Kola, you will have your work cut out for you after all. We'll have to see if she can go bunny hunting on the next turn. Now Illusion has grand ideas in mind of her own. She wants to go island hopping too, but not quite on the same path as all of her tribe mates. She wants to find her very own island to take over for herself. So I think she's going to pose the idea to maybe Marina. Marina does want to see the world. She was a little bit put off by her mother's fearful ways, so I'm sure Illusion's tales of adventure would really interest her. We'll see how far they can get today. I think Marina is probably going to be able to cross the distance. Again, she's one of the creatures with the big body, so she should be able to go a little bit deeper. She is a bit young, but let's see if that's enough for her to cross safely. It does seem like it was, so she can call out to Illusion to let her know that things are safe and sound, but we'll settle her down right here until she has a little bit more energy. She has the webbed paw too, which means that she should be able to swim a little bit faster if it does get to that, and that actually reminds me that we should probably place something special into their mutation menus. So Crest does have the water body in his inactive traits, and I'm hoping that means that it's just going to show up on some of his babies. I don't think we're even going to be able to place it into his mutation menu, because he doesn't actually have any water traits himself. The webbed paw, the swimming tail, the gills, so we're just going to have to try to rely on that as best as we can, though some of his siblings may be able to work that into their menus if this doesn't play out. The only thing that I can really see that might become a problem here is his eyesight, the short-sighted eyes in his traits, so I guess we can place the normal eyes in here, but otherwise, I mean, we might as well just leave the slots open in case there is something else that we want to place in later. Nothing is really risking the health of these babies as far as their genetics goes, so you guys are going to have a pretty healthy family, all things considered. Now let's see, we have Virgo back here with her father Aries, of course. They're trying to pick up as much food as they possibly can, all of the berries on the bushes and all of the acorns too. That's probably a little bit more important right now because they're the only ones who can crack them open with those nimble fingers. The nimble fingers are actually becoming a little bit more rare in the family, despite the fact that Silaire and Ra-Ra were hoping to appease the god of the harvest. So maybe she'll have them learn about foraging first. That is what they learned from their father first after all, so they'll learn how to sniff out all of the berry bushes and collect from them as well as they can. Rose, as always, is eager to prove herself, so she's going to jump all the way back here to snag up some of these berries. And not only that, but she also uncovered a little bunny burrow too. So I guess we probably have quite a few bunnies hopping around here, of course, right along the shores. So somebody's going to have to go hunting as well. Maybe that's more suited to Cloud's tastes. Maybe she would prefer to do the hunting instead of the foraging. First though, she is going to wait for her good friend Scratch. She can't leave him behind, so let's bring him up to the shores past these rocks. Now if Cloud works her way around this side of the island, she should be able to get to those bunnies. And not only that, but it looks like this island is going to be so much easier for us to get to. There's only a very, very shallow bit of water separating them as opposed to the giant gap that we had before. Even this island has a nice bridge, but this one is another story. If anyone gets over here with this tree, it would probably be a creature with the water body, so let's cross our fingers that one of those babies ends up inheriting it. Now all we have left to do is bring Silaire up here to help gather up the acorns, of course, and I'm sure she would be very interested to see what the newest little generation is going to look like too. She actually didn't get the chance to meet the newest little baby with the ram horn, Simba, so it's going to be interesting to see what her views are on this entire situation. She's very leery of hybrids after all, but she does follow the ways of the old gods, so she would definitely be torn to see that ram horn crown that he's wearing. Ra-Ra, our little mushroom princess, for whatever reason seems a little bit less concerned, so maybe she could offer to help escort Shark over to the other side, since he is going to be following Crest. Now his little brother should be fine, but we're going to bring him up here just in case, so he's very, very close to his mother, and then very close to his new sibling too. Maybe they'll even have a little daughter. They've only had sons so far, so that would be nice if we had a little girl hybrid to follow as well. But with our last couple of turns, we could maybe try to dig up some of the stuff in the water. That actually worked very nice, and it brings us a tiny step closer to maybe unlocking the platypus beak. Beta, with some of the very last of her strength, might try to crack open one of these little acorns on the side of her nest, but unfortunately it seems like that is going to be the end for her. So let's zoom out again to make sure that nothing is going to come slithering out of that grass in the back, and then we'll see what the very last hybrid baby of this family is going to be. I think it actually is a girl. Oh, a little daughter, and she has the big body too. She doesn't have that Berryina snout, but she is carrying it in her genetics, so there's always a possibility that her own babies could have them instead. She does, however, have the Berryina hind legs. Alright, I think this is the very first of their babies that managed to inherit that, so let's see if we can get a little bit of a closer look. Yeah, that reminds me of Growl, our very good friend Growl, and of course the Berryina claws that we've already seen. Those big giant talons must be very imposing to anyone who doesn't know the Berryinas well. So I think we'll name this little baby the very first daughter of the hybrids, Ursa, and hopefully she'll be just as successful as all of her brothers as they charge off for their own adventures. Now Vixen should have had a little baby too, so let's see how strong this one is. Oh look, she has the big nose, just like Clay actually, just like her Uncle Clay. And she also has a spiky body too, so that should give her a pretty good boost in strength. She has a 5 in strength, not bad at all, the same as her mother, so she is certainly going to make a very, very good little warrior to add to their collection. I think we might name her Fern to go along with those lovely green eyes, and then we'll have to get back to food collecting, of course, to make sure that this baby is going to have enough to eat. So we probably don't want Rose to be too close to the bunny burrow, and in fact if she sets herself up right here, then she should be able to snag some berries for all the babies, while still making sure that the bunnies can spawn. but we are going to have to at least clear out the grass, otherwise we're not going to be able to see it. And I think, Aries, you may have actually scared away a mole, unfortunately. So we'll sit you right there for now as your daughter goes ahead and grabs all the acorns, all of the berries on the bushes. We need to find her a suitable partner as well. She has immunities H and the one from our home island, but she also has some very, very poor eyesight. And in fact, we might want to make sure that we place the normal eyes in her mutation menu right away, because we don't want the blindness and the short-sighted eyes to spread any further than it already has. But if we can find her somebody to breed with, then that would be a good thing too, because it's another creature who could possibly give us the water body. And not only that, but she should be able to put the water body in her mutation menu. So if we need a little bit of an extra boost, then she should be able to supply it with her lovely webbed paw. Now, crossing the water for Shark might be a little bit riskier because he does have a slower movement speed. So he's going to be stuck in the deeper portions of the water for a little bit longer, and he does have the medium body. I think he's probably going to take a little bit of damage here. But let's move Rara over to the other side at least. Oh, even she took damage. She has the spiky body. I wonder if she can't stay on that layer? Or are you going to take another bit of damage when you move off of it? Well, let's get you to higher ground then. It looks like you're fine, but you're going to have to call Shark over so he can try his luck too. Let's set him down on the farthest tile that we can get to and then jump right next to a Rara. Oh, there you go. You managed to make it to the shore after all. No problems whatsoever. So you must have learned from Rara's mistakes. It's a little bit unfortunate that she lost part of her life though, because that does mean that she's going to pass away before her twin sister. And she's gotten so far behind her too. But Silaire has been doing a wonderful job taking care of her daughter nonetheless. Now, Illusion, on the other hand, you have the spiky body as well, so you are also going to have a little bit of trouble getting to your friend Marina, but you have adventures to get to yourself. So let's set you up right by her side, and then Marina can help carve the path while you catch your breath a little bit. We'll bring her down the shore, maybe not too far away because we don't want her to run into any danger, but she can do her part by at least picking up a little bit of that grass to offer as nesting material to all of our mothers. Likewise, I guess that means that it's time for Howl to pack up the family nest once and for all because his mate has passed away. He must be feeling very, very sad right now because of course Beta was one of the only other creatures on the island who understood just how it was to be one of these Berryina hybrids. So he's definitely going to have to pass those stories along to his children too, even about the feud. That's probably very important for Simba to learn just because of his own background. That way he won't make the same mistake that they did once he starts to travel too. Let's drop him down to the waves so he can at least prepare. He's not ready to jump just yet, but he'll make sure that the path is clear, especially for his little sister. He's going to want to make sure that she's safe and sound. We'll have Arana go back to collecting all of the berries. Oh, you certainly have your work cut out for you, little one. There are so many berry bushes for her to collect from, and she's only one creature with 2 running legs. But Cola wouldn't be much of a help with her 2 claws, and she has her eyes on the bunnies anyway. It looks like the commotion may have called out one of the leeches though, and I think somebody else might have a leech too. Who on earth picked that up? Oh no, Cloud. You're going to have to call your friend Scratch over here to pick that off of you. There we go. Thankfully, we didn't have to worry too much about you, so you won't be taking any damage overnight. But Cola, if that leech attached to you, then you might have a different problem. Yeah, she definitely has a leech, and we only have Howl over here, who needs to stay right by his baby's side because his mate passed away. So I guess you're going to have to try your luck on these acorns again, and then you'll have to go save Cola on the next turn. It might be wise to bring Clay around this way too though. Maybe he could help out with the bunny hunting just with his big nose. Let's sniff around right now to see if we can find it. It seems to have skittered somewhere a little bit deeper because we can't smell it just yet. Maybe if we put him here? No, but he does smell some little shells on the beach, so I guess that's a good thing. Yeah, we can't even hear the bunny anymore. The good news is, even if you can't find the bunny, you can find the moles, so let's bring you this way. And then you might as well use your last turns to jump up here and smack this guy from behind. So there's some meat to give to your tribe at the very least. But we do have bunnies back here where Marina is, so I guess our little pirates will have to do some hunting of their own. Now we might as well give Vixen and Cress Crest the chance to have another baby. They have a permanent nest over here, but it might be a little bit easier for us if we just set up another one right next to the old one too. That way we don't have to leave any of the babies behind and we can still pick the berries. We might want to even bring Crest around to a different berry bush. If he goes over here, he could help out Rose, so she's not quite so overwhelmed by all of this different food. Now we just have Mosey and Tiny, who should probably start setting themselves up for the jump as well. Mosey can follow right in her big brother's footsteps and set up on the other side of this giant imposing figure. I mean, with the lean bodies, they are going to be absolutely dwarfed by Simba once he grows up. Maybe they would make good friends though. A bit of a unlikely pairing since they're so very different, but they've all kind of been left alone by their different families too, so I'm sure they would find some similarities in that. But we should be just about ready to skip the day, so let's zoom out again and let's go ahead and see if anything is going to come out of the grass at this time. So far so good. It doesn't look like we have anything to worry about. We'll go ahead and listen around though and sniff around too. Yeah, it seems like we are definitely in the clear. It makes me wonder what's spawning on all of those different islands because there must be something out here that we just haven't seen yet. But that gives us a good chance to take a look at this next little baby who looks quite a bit similar to her sister actually. She's only missing the spiky body and she has those stripes instead of course, but that also means that she has the stinky tail in her genetics. So she should be very, very helpful if we end up going toward this swampy island in the north, because then she could at least get rid of all of those pesky bugs. So I think perhaps due to her similar appearance to Vixen's own grandfather, maybe she would request that they name her after him. They could name her Sage the Second. It kind of works as both a male name and a female name anyway, so it could be a little tradition in their family to name these swamp dwellers after the sage of old times. He did love his swamp, so maybe she would feel a little bit of that calling in her too, but she's far, far too young to set off on her own just yet. And look at this, little Scratch is all grown up. Oh, we're going to have to bring you to come to see Cloud because I'm sure she would be very, very impressed. But we picked up all of her meat, and now it looks like we're going to have to go a little bit further out to find anything else that she can hunt. So let's bring her back down to the shore since the bunnies seem to favor that area, and we'll have Scratch trail right behind you to try to pick up some of those fish. Clay knows a lot about fishing too after spending so much time trying to help out his mother, so let's have him jump straight into the water. Oh my gosh, he found the bunny as well! Excellent! You didn't even need to use your big nose to find that bunny, but all you can really grab are the fish at the moment, and Cloud doesn't have quite enough energy to jump all the way over there for the bunny. So we'll have you grab the fish, and then at least we know which island you guys are going to be exploring. Bunny Island right in the middle. Marina and Illusion seem to be a little bit more adventurous, but that is to be expected. Let's bring them down the shore a little bit more. Marina can still carve the path ahead of her, and there we go. We have found yet another bunny to snag up. Oh no, an Illusion, you found another leech? There are leeches absolutely everywhere in this world. We're going to have your sister come down here and pick that off of you because we don't want you taking any more damage. At the very least though, that does give us some extra food, and not only that, but Virgo can pick up this lovely shell that's sitting on the beach. Then we're going to have Shark help out Rara, it seems. And luckily Rara is very trusting toward the Berryina babies, so she doesn't mind quite so much. We'll bring a Shark right up next to Rara's sister, in fact. Silaire, as she picks up all the berries in the area, she might actually have to take up the duty for Virgo since she's a little bit preoccupied at the moment. That sets her further away from Shark as well, who seems to have settled himself right in between the babies, so a very different situation that he's in compared to his parents, who weren't allowed anywhere near their nests. Shark seems like a very stern creature though, very stern and driven, and he knows he has a mission to help out Crest however he can. So I'm not sure if he's going to be doing too much playing with these kids, but we'll see how other stories end up. For now, let's have Crest pick up all these berries, and Rara can help him out by clearing out the area and picking up some berries for their babies too. They are going to have to set sail again though to try to find those healing fruits. If there is a possibility that any of them have spawned on these islands, then Rose would want to be the one to find it first. Rara is already so proud of her daughter though. We'll bring her up there in just a moment because I think she wants to help these children cross. She doesn't want to leave them all behind, especially these poor little lean-bodied creatures, Tiny and Mosey, and Simba too, who's going to struggle a little bit with his slow speed. So let's bring him into the deepest portions, and then he can get right up next to Rara herself, but that is going to cause him to take a little bit of extra damage. And he has yet another leech. Where on earth are these all coming from? I know they spawn in these algae piles, but honestly, there are just tons and tons absolutely everywhere. We're going to have Cola pick up her meat too, and then jump way up here next to Howl to see if he wouldn't mind maybe licking her wounds. Again, quite the change from the way that things were before. We'll take the leech off, we'll lick your wounds, and then we'll have you move a little bit further away from that bunny burrow, I think, because we still want those to spawn. Yeah, very, very different, especially because she was actually part of the Old Kingdom herself. Her mother was one of the direct descendants, so they were very wary of the Berryina babies to begin with. But now it seems like they may have truly been accepted by most of its members, so maybe it'll be easier for the newest generation to make friends. Even tiny little Ursa is going to want to set off and see the world for herself. We'll bring her over here next to Tiny, in fact. Tiny himself with his itty-bitty body so she can watch him jump the gap. Someday she's sure that she is going to be doing the exact same thing after all, just like her big brothers who have already left without her. So let's see if, oh my gosh, Tiny, you can literally jump across this entire area, the entire ocean. You don't even need to get your feet wet. Can your sister do the same? She actually can, right into this algae pile, so I guess they're not going to struggle after all. If they can seriously jump that far, she can get all the way up to the top of the hill here too, right next to the rest of her tribe mates. So they have certainly learned how to use their tiny appearance to the best of their abilities. Maybe that means that they would also like to join our seafaring group way over on the right side of the island as they try to make their way over to the more dangerous portions of the land. Yeah, it's definitely going to be harder for them to jump this gap, and in fact, this might be where they end up taking a little bit of damage. I think this deep, deep water is really going to stop them in their tracks, even our big-bodied creatures. I wonder if Illusion is even going to be able to make it over there. It seems like she's going to have a very short, though well-lived life with all of her adventures. Now let's at least make sure that Cloud and her little group over here make it safely over to Bunny Island. As they're chasing all of those rabbits down the shore, can we possibly smell him anymore? He's still over here, so we might be able to catch up with him after all. Let's bring Clay over on this side, and then we'll bring Cloud right down the middle, and hopefully we can kind of steer it between us. I think she's still going to be able to catch up after all. There we go. So she managed to get that bunny, and then we can bring Scratch and Clay up toward this island to see what they can find. Maybe there's something special in here, or at the very least a good place for them to set up a camp, because I do think that Cloud and Scratch are probably thinking about settling down at some point. They do have completely different immunity genes, which is always a good thing to see, and their eyesight are very nice too. We have had some issues with the blindness getting hidden away in those inactive traits, so they would at least provide us with very healthy babies to take to the next islands. They might even be good fishers too. They have that fishing tail hidden away, so I guess this is going to be our hunting line after all. The ones who will bring us a good source of meat to go along with all of these berries from Vankir's followers. But so far, things seem to be going pretty well for our little group. We still haven't run into any form of angry carnivores, any form of angry Berryinas, so our Berryina babies must be feeling pretty grateful. But in the next episode, the king of beasts himself, little Simba, should be ready to make his first steps on this brand new island and introduce himself to the rest of the tribe. I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to want to find his own island to conquer too, his own little island to grow his brood of Berryina babies. But for now, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye guys!